evening, everyone. Again, a very happy International Museums Day 2024. So, today's our second lecture is being given by Jahangir Hussain, Director General, Heritage Foundation, Bangladesh, and member ICOM WGSR. Sir is going to talk on the topic Museums for Education and Research, uh, Bangladesh perspective. So I warmly welcome Jahangir Hussain ji to the platform of the history enthusiasts. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation. And I also welcome our honorary president, Nandan Shastri ji, and founder president, Ms. Manali Mumaya, and all the core committee members, advisory members, and our beautiful audience to this session. Please stay active throughout the session. And I now request Ms. Manali Momaya to introduce our today's resource person, Jahangir Hussain ji. Over to you, Manali.
Thanks for the warm welcome, Nidhi. Happy International Museum Day to all the museum enthusiasts and history enthusiasts. It is a privilege to introduce our distinguished speaker, Mr. Jahangir Hussain. As the Director General of the Heritage Foundation in Bangladesh, Jahangir sir has dedicated his life to the preservation and promotion of cultural heritage. His illustrious career began with his role as the founder curator of the Asiatic Society Heritage Museum. He went on to serve as a director and keeper of Bangladesh National Museum, where his expertise in administrative and curatorial roles flourished over an impressive 41-year career. His extensive experience in museum management is complemented by his training in museology in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia in 1993 and various specialized trainings in administration, management, curatorial work, cultural affairs, and international liaison. Throughout his career, Mr. Hussain has been instrumental in implementing major projects for the establishment of new museums. He has organized numerous exhibitions and seminars at the Bangladesh National Museum, significantly contributing to the cultural landscape of Bangladesh. His leadership extends to his tenure as the chairperson of the Bangladesh National Committee of the International Council of Museums, that is ICOM-Bangladesh, where he played a crucial role in arranging seminars, symposiums, rallies, and cultural programs. As a member of ICOM since 1997, he has served 3 times as a chairperson of ICOM Bangladesh and is currently a member of the ICOM Working Group on Statutes and Rules, WGSR. His expertise has also been recognized through his roles as a board member of ICOM ASPAC, the Martyr Barkat Memorial Museum at the University of Dhaka, and Sunamganj Heritage Museum. In addition to his professional achievements, he is actively involved in international affairs as a secretary of the United Nations Association of Bangladesh. His dedication to cultural heritage has taken him to 23 countries where he has participated in workshops, seminars, conferences, further broadening his global perspective. He is also an accomplished author with 3 books and several articles to his credit, showcasing his deep knowledge and commitment to his field. So please join me in welcoming Jahangir Hussain ji, a visionary leader and a dedicated advocate of cultural heritage, to the platform of history enthusiasts. With this, I now give up the stage to Jahangir sir. Sir, kindly unmute yourself, please. Sir, you are on mute. There is an option there to unmute. It's still on mute, sir.
Still, but
Yes,
it
sir.
shows
Now
that now,
I can hear you. Yes, sir.
now it-
Yes, sir.
if other picture is there, so repeat it.
No, sir. Now you are audible. No problem.
No problem. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Miss Munali and Mr. Sastriji, for inviting me on this occasion of the International Museum Day. And good evening and happy International Museum Day to all of you who are joining with us. And a special thanks to Monali for inviting me for this special lecture, selecting me. For, and before I start, I also thanks all the relevant persons who helped me and all the persons who joined the session. International Museum Day. Before I go to the agenda, I would like to inform you about the definition of museum. In 2022 in Prague, the last museum definition was introduced. A museum is a non-profit permanent institute in the service of society that researches, repeat researches, collects, conserves, interprets, exhibits intangible and tangible cultural heritage, open to the public, accessible and inclusive museum, foster diversity and sustainability. The, they operate and communicate ethically, professionally, and with the participation of communities, offering varied experience for education, enjoyment, reflection, and knowledge sharing. Here, I would like to mention that researches and education, which is the main theme of this today's program. What is ICOM? ICOM created in 1946 in the UNESCO first plenary meeting is international in outlook, professional in focus, and collaborative in practice. ICOM is the voice of museum professionals and raises public cultural awareness through global networks and cooperation programs. ICOM consists of 46,686 museum professionals in over 138 countries and territories with 119 national committees, 32 international committees, 8 regional alliances, and 22 affiliated organizations. ICOM's missions. Next, I, ICOM has 5 main missions: establish standards of excellence, lead a diplomatic firm, develop a professional network, lead a global think tank, carry out international missions. What is International Museum Day? Every year since 1977, ICOM has organized International Museum Day IMAD, IMDE. On this day, participating museums plan creative events, activities related to the International Museum Day theme, engage with their public, and highlight the importance of the role of museums as institutions that serve society and its development. International Museum Day was officially established in 1977 with the adoption of a Moscow Revolution during ICOM General Assembly to create an annual event. Organized on and around 18 May each year, the objective of this day is to raise awareness of the fact that museums are an important means of cultural exchange enrich of the cultures and development of mutual understanding, cooperation, and peace among peoples. Meeting 1951. Next, next slide, please. Yes. Before officially creating International Museum Day, ICOM gathered the international museum community for a 1951 meeting called Crusade for Museums to discuss the theme Museums and Education. The idea for International Museum Day was inspired by the framework of museum accessibility that was developed at this meeting. After a long time, education is again as a theme of the International Museum Day. About 73 years ago, the museum concept of museum was developed in 1951. And very interestingly, that this about same theme we are observing, uniting the museum community on one theme. As the event attracted more and more museums and increasingly favored diversity in unity. ICOM suggested a theme for the first time in 1992, and the first theme was museums and environment. And from then, every year, ICOM fixed a new theme for the Museum Day. International Museum Day 2024. Next slide, please. Museum for Education and Research, the theme of this year. Museum for Education and Research underscores the pivotal role of cultural institution in providing a holistic educational experience. These days, pushes for a more conscious, sustainable, and inclusive world. Museums serve as dynamic educational hubs, fostering curiosity, curiosity, creativity, and critical thinking. In 2024, we acknowledge their contribution to research, providing a platform for exploration and dissemination of new ideas. From art and history to science and technology, museums are vital spaces where education and research coverage to shape our understanding of the world. Message of Imanati ICOM President. Next slide. In an official message of the President of ICOM, the following are significant. She said that education is culture, education is reading, education is enlightenment, education is transformation, education is dignity, education is equality, inclusion, education is solidarity, education is life. These words are very important for us and everybody in life. Creation of a universal identity. In 1997, ICOM launched the first official poster of the event on the theme of fighting illicit traffic of cultural goods. The poster is being adopted by the many countries, and now every year ICOM published a poster for with related to the themes, and this is the poster of this year Museum Day 2024. Next, Sustainable Development Goals (SDG) of United Nations. From 2020, ICOM decided that ICOM will observe the International Museum Day with the SDG goals. SDG that uh, 17 goals 22 implemented will be implemented the 2030. This year in 2024, we will focus on goal 4, quality education. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Goal 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Museum education. Next, in the article Museum Education by Umesh Kumar Singh, education defined as process of experience, generally called learning, which brings desirable changes in human behavior with respect to knowledge, outstanding skill, and attitude. In the same article, John Frank and Lean 1992, who had extensively studied museum education in USA, India, UK, and many other countries, described learning in museum as follows. Learning is in museum generally involves a visitor or a group of visitors attending to an object, a display, label, person, element, or some mental construct of these. Museum learning has long been examined in relation to affecting power and loading power of exhibits in museums. The information thus collected by the visitors is stored in the brain and remains there forever. Museum education, Bangladesh perspective. The museum education is a unique concept and practice in the museum field. Objective of it is to educate the visitors, students, adults, general people, researchers to enhance their knowledge by observing collections of a museum. The exhibits help the visitors better understanding nature, heritage history, use and origin of the objects in the museum. Museum education is focusing on the study of education and learning that occurs in museums and other informal learning contexts. Museum education is explained in different way in different countries. In Bangladesh, museum is called non-formal university. In this article, I shall try to present the museum education practice, particularly in Bangladesh. Museum education is a specialist field devoted to developing and strengthening the educational role of non-formal education spaces and institutions such as museums. Its main objective is to engage visitors in learning experiences to enhance their curiosity and interest in their objects and collections. The public dimensions of museums leads them to perform the public service of education, a term that in its broadest sense includes the exploration, study, observation, critical thinking, contemplation, and dialogues. Wikipedia. Non-formal education. Next slide, please. I think you advance. Next, we what the next slide. Non-formal education. Any organized educational activity outside the established formal system, whether operating separately or as an important feature of some broader activity that is intended to serve the indefinitely learning clients slash and learning object. Education of educational role of museum. Three words you have: education, interpretation, and communication. I have advanced about three slides. Please forward. Yes, next. Yes. The next slide. Next. Yes. Learning museums. Right? Learning museums. The learning experience for visitors significant. Learning in museums rather than on museum education. Next. Museum multicultural education. This is the picture I can see the museum is education center, the very institute. Museum multicultural education. Museum possesses a tremendous potential for the development and encouragement of the goals of multicultural education. Museums are places for teaching and learning. Next, the museum as educator. The role of museum is to bring to students and adults who live in a complex civilization where most adventures are secondhand, a fresh visual knowledge, the great art of their own and of past culture. Next, Bangladesh perspective. Yes, Bangladesh has a very good prospect for the development and promotion of nations. On the other hand, these activities are mostly favorable to the four objectives, namely acknowledgement the cultural dimension of development, affirmation and enrichment of cultural identities, broadening participation in culture, and promoting the international cultural cooperation adopted in the UN resolution. The museum situation in Bangladesh in British period 1757 to 1947 only seven museums in the Bangladesh area, and in Pakistan period 1947 to 1971 for only 46 museums were there, and now in Bangladesh about 200 museums are there. A brief account of development of museums according to their categories in the country is mentioned below. Most of the museums mentioned here play educational role, but bulk of them yet to initiate such activity. We hope they will also undertake the different programs on public education. Next. First museum is the Borendra Research Museum established in 1910. Leading museum, Bangladesh Museum, the second one, it is in 1913. And there are also the National Science Museum, Memorial Museums, Folk Art and Ethnological Museums, Liberation War Museums, City Museum and local museums, subject-oriented museums, private museums, archaeological museums, and specialized museums. Next. Among the different types of museums, the Bangladesh National Museum is one of the largest museums in Asia. The Bangladesh National Museum is the successor of Dhaka Museum. The government in 1983 incorporated Dhaka Museum, which was established in 1913, into Bangladesh National Museum by an ordinance. This museum is a multidisciplinary one, which has the largest collection of the nation's cultural heritage. It has about 95,000 objects in its four curatorial departments. The objects of the museum has been displayed in 45 galleries within the floor space of nearly about 22,000 square meters. This is the picture of Bangladesh National Museum. Next slide, please. The four curatorial departments of the Bangladesh National Museum are as follows. Department of History and Classical Art, Department of Ethnography and Decorative Art, Department of Contemporary Art and World Civilization, and Department of Natural History. Besides, there are two service departments, namely the Conservation Laboratory and the Department of Education. Next slide, please. Disabled people are visiting the museums. This is the picture. Next picture. Students are watching the Iranian corner. In the Bangladesh National Museum, there are four different this corner. Bangladesh Education Museum Education in Bangladesh. 200 museums, and 150 universities in Bangladesh. Formal museum education is not available in these institutions. Some museums have provision for educational program. Two universities have the Department of Archaeology. In this department, museology and museum education are included, but not as individual subject. Next slide, please. Students are on the queue before entering the National Museum. Next. Bangladesh National Museum introduced educational program since 1977. That is, they arranged the school bus. By this bus, the bus went to the school of Dhaka city and collect the students from the school and they show the galleries of the museum by their trained guide lecturer and back to their school. And another programs is traveling exhibition bus. In 1978, National Museum introduces the National Traveling Bus, and this bus travel everywhere of the country. Yes, next, and the quick we can see there the picture. The students are watching the galleries. Next, this is the same picture. Students are watching the galleries. Next, they organize a seminar, symposium, and conference of a special exhibition. This is the part of the seminar with the students and saying the activities of the activities of the museum. Next slide. Next slide. Yes. This is the art competition amongst the students. We can see the art competition of the students of the museum. Next, in the right side, you can find the especially able in the competition. His painting with his leg. Next, yes. This is the next. Next, next, yeah. Next. Yeah. In the left side, this is round table conference, and right side the young student giving a lecture, the lecture competition. Next, all these pictures are educational program in the museums, in different museums, cultural function with the student participants. Next, Shilpacharya Shala, art school, and this is the art competition. Next, Liberation War introduced the educational program. This is the picture of Liberation Museum. Next, the mobile museum has traveled to 43 of 64 districts of the country and brought under the program 500,525 students visited this. And among the people participating, more than 50% are girls. Next, this is the traveling exhibition of Liberation War Museum. We can see that the students are watching the traveling exhibition. Next, experiences of 1971, the year the Independence Day of Bangladesh year of Bangladesh. Oral history program by Liberation War Museum encourages the students to write down what they learned from the elderly persons of Liberation War Museum has received more than 20,000 oral accounts collected by the students. The student visited the elderly people and they hear the oral history from the elderly people and write down. They submit it to the Liberation War. Yeah. Next, please. This is the picture we can see students in the Independence Day program of Liberation War Museum. Okay, next, please. Research in is at every museum has provision for research. Most of the museums of Bangladesh conduct research, their research with collections and in the museum field also. Next is education through publication and research. Through publication, a museum can transmit its research to their scholars and general public. There are three kinds of publication, namely the outcome of the serious research conducted on the subject and published in the form of journals, catalogs, brochures, monographs, or books. Two, publication in the form of leaflets, guidebooks, introductory leaflets, etc. To familiarize the people with the museum and its activities. Three, a special publication on the occasion of new gallery, a special exhibition anniversary to popularize the museum within the community. Next, next slide, please. This is the picture of Bhavendra Research Museum. I mentioned this is the first museum of our country. This is under the University of Russia. Next slide, please. Yeah, no, no, earlier on. Next, next, there is a lead booklet. Oh, it's missing. Is it Miss White? Oh, sorry. There was a list of publications modern research done. Uh, next slide, please. Uh, there are books. On the first book published by the Borough Research Museum, 1912, and there are some important books published from the Borough Research Museum, which are referred in by the scholar both home and abroad also. Next slide. Bangladesh National Museum, since its inception in 1913, has been carrying out researches in various fields. The first curator, Dr. Nolinikanta Bhattacharya, did excellent works in the museum. His book, Iconography of Buddhist Brahminical Sculpture in the Dhaka Museum, mm, Dhaka, published by Dhaka Museum in 1929, and Coins and Chronology of the Early Independent Sultans of Bengal, published in Cambridge in 1922, are most famous books and internationally reputed. Bengal sculpture, Hindu iconography up to 1250 AD by Dr. Inamul Haq is the milestone in iconography research still today. During last 100 years, Bangladesh National Museum served as a core center for research. Its several officers, researchers did their field PhD with the collection of the BNM. Moreover, the museum has a big library with the rare collections which help the researchers both home and abroad. Next slide, please. Next slide, we can see the book published of Dr. Mulini Kando, the second edition, first edition out of print. Earlier, this is the this is the book of Dr. Mulini Kando. This picture we can see the second edition. Next slide, please. During last 5 years, National Museum carried out a program and it's implemented a program and 15 volumes of different subject-wise. There's the two volumes we can see the Sanskrit and Bengali manuscript, volume 1 and volume 2. They published the descriptive catalogs in 15 volumes and subject-wise in 15 volumes. Next, we can quick see this is the descriptive catalog. Coins, 4 books on coins, gold coins, ancient coins, ancient coins of Bangladesh, coins of Bengal sultans, volume 1 and next. Next slide, please. The left side Buddhist and Hindu sculpture descriptive catalog, and the right side catalog, terracotta. Next, please. Contemporary art, historical paintings, and folk art. Next slide, please. All these are descriptive catalogs and prepared by our scholar and museum of science. Traditional musical instrument, arms and armor, and mulas shell. Oh, okay, next. This is the picture of the father of the National Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Memorial Museum. Father of the National Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Memorial Museum arranges the educational programs for the students and general public. By all these educational programs, students and visitors are being involved in the process of education. Museum also undertake the research and works and publish books. Next slide, please. Public books of Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Memorial Museum, and library. All these books are published from the Memorial Museum. Next slide, please. Liberation War Museum Research Program. Liberation War Museum has conducted research programs and published several books, journal, and papers. Next slide, please. National Museum of Science and Technology. National Museum of Science and Technology has been conducted research programs and published several books in Journal of Technology. Next slide, please. Hassan Munzil. The East Museum arranges different types of educational competition every year. Next slide, please. Wari Boteshwar Citadel Open Air Museum and Bikram Puri British Bihara Open Air Archaeological Site Museum. These museums are run by the research organization named the ঐতিহ্য Nation and first open museum initiative in Bangladesh. These museums offer different types of activities related to the heritage collection. Next slide, please. I, uh, this is the conclusion. Before I conclude, I acknowledge that my paper was prepared from my experience and training and from the books journal and from the website from the different organizations. Conclusion. Education research are two important activities of museums, which have been emphasized in different literatures, ICOM, and museum. A museum is whether dynamic or live in a given culture or not determined by the educational program it takes and by the volume of researches it conducts or conducted on the objects and activities of the museum. Museum cannot keep the pace of development if these two knowledge-based dimensions of museums are neglected in the time of disease and denied to adapt and advance in the future. Thank you very much, and thank you for patient hearing. And once again, thank you, Ms. Manali and Manali ji and Mr. Shastri ji for giving me the opportunity to give the lecture. Thank you very much.
Uh, Thank you, sir, in fact, for the wonderful slides. As we all know, Bangladesh and India share a rich cultural, social, ethnic, economic history, and heritage. And it was a great pleasure to see the museums of Bangladesh through your presentation, sir. And it has
Thank you.
also spiked our interest. And we would definitely like to visit in the future whenever possible.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Inshallah.
Uh, yes, sir. Sir, with your permission, can we take up a couple of questions?
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Yes, sir. So Sukhdev ji has asked, sir, please shed some more light on SDG 4 and museum in the context of school education at a time when deliberately school tours to museums are getting cut.
Uh, HDG goals in the this year only goal 4 and 9 is related to this to our theme of ICOM. HDG goal 4 quality education, where it is mentioned, ICOM mentioned that ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. And in our country, all the museums, some museums are undertaking the school programs, and they contract with the school, and the student from the school visited the museums and train museum guides, and show them the galleries of the museums and various educational activities like as competition, lecture competition, debate, round table conference among the students, and handwriting competition, painting competition with them in the especially and our victory days, independent days, or our language movement days. We arrange the special program for the students, and normally it's out of the existing program of the students. So it is very much related to the SDGs 4. And in the SDGs 9, it's not for the students also, but it is the research also, right? 9 is related to the research purpose, and it is each museum are doing the research with their objects, and sometimes they visited the field archaeological sites for their research work, and it is related to the goal 9 of SDGs. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Komolika ji has written. She is she's professor from Jadavpur
Jadavpuri.
University, Kolkata. Madam has written, thanks for the
Yes.
yes, sir. So one, thanks for
Oh,
the
thank you.
opportunity,
Ancestor.
country.
Yeah, thank
So
you. Ancestor house in our area. Okay, nice to hear it.
yes, sir. In Bangladesh, is there any national museum of health and medicine? If yes, what are its
Hmm.
activities in the realm of research?
No, 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 no. Sorry, no health and medicine. But in our national museum, it is a multidisciplinary museum, but especially no
Yes,
gallery
sir.
for
Thank you.
health or medicine. But medicinal plants we displayed in the National History Department. Some medicinal plants are there. Mentioned that some medicinal plants are there.
Thank you, sir. Sukhdev ji has asked another question. Do we have any museums or exhibitions dedicated to Surya Sen in Bangladesh? If yes, how can we visit one?
Not in the name of institution. There, in our national museum, there are four galleries dedicated to our liberation war, and it is the time period of 1757 to 1975. We displayed the sacrifice of the Master Dashurja Chain. We called him Master Dashurja Chain in our country, but no specific reason. But in the name of Hussain, in the Dhaka University, there is a hall for the university students, Master Dashurjan Hall, and it is very near to the National Museum of Bangladesh.
Thank you, sir. The next question is by Sukhdev ji again. What is it that is that in the Western countries, defiling museum properties has become a popular mode of protest, whereas in East we are displaying so much dedication in preserving our museum. So, what could be the difference in perspective?
Pardon, repeat again. Why
He's asking
is
why
Western
in West So why in the Western countries is it considered okay to destroy museum property in the name of protest?
name of in the mode of protest, where in the East we are displaying such dedication in preserving our museums? Yes, we do not protest, but we display the heroic and holistic side of the history and the persons. This is the difference between Western with the European side and Northern.
Thank you, sir. I have one question. So, are there any museums dedicated only to national freedom movement or freedom fighters? Any particular freedom fighters or newspapers that were very popular during those times?
New, only for freedom fighters, we have seven Veer Shrestha who dedicated their life in the liberation war. Independent seven museum and library are there. And I mentioned in my paper that liberation war museum is exclusively for our liberation war. All the heroes of the national hero during our liberation war displayed there. Under the National Museum, which I was one of the part, and I was in charge of the established the independent museum separately under the National Museum. There we showed the history of our independence. We displayed our heroic, that is freedom fighters there, especially who dedicated their life, and and about 2 lakhs, it maybe varies the number. 2 lakhs freedom fighters. It's not possible to show the each and every freedom fighters in museum, but we respect. We have the separate museum for independence and seven pieces to in their local area. There are seven museums for the who are great freedom fighters, seven pieces to who dedicate their life during the liberation war.
Thank you, sir.
And,
Uh,
1 minute, there are some museums under the army cantonment. In different regions on Dhaka cantonment, there are 4 or 5 museums under the Dhaka cantonment, and Kumila, Monitoring. In everywhere, we have some museums with the history of liberation and with our freedom fighters.
Thank you, sir.
Next,
Uh,
thank you.
Sukhdev ji has written, thank you so much, sir. The patience of a learned man is always a learning opportunity. Your presentation and query responses have been very helpful. Yes, sir. And before moving on to the end of this lecture, I would like to ask another question. Sir,
The
what is the
student,
extent of inclusion of augmented reality and virtual reality technologies in museums at Bangladesh?
it is not very up to the mark. It is in this line we are working, but we are in lack of some technical knowledge, but we are trying to improve. Improve.
Thank you very much, sir. As I said, it has been a pleasure to journey the museums of Bangladesh through your presentation, and we feel really optimistic that, of course, the museum movement has to improve in India, in Bangladesh, and everywhere in the world. So, hoping
Yes.
for the best, because without museums, there is no way to popularize history, archaeology, and every other branch of knowledge. So, wishing everybody another happy International Museum Day, and power to the museum movement. Now we have reached the end of this lecture. Sir, do you have any message for us, me, Nidhi, and
Uh,
our viewers?
I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Ace and everybody who joined, and especially Manali and Nasiji. And I invite you all to visit our Bangladesh, our heritage, visit our museums, and we will be happy to see you on our country with enthusiasm, and I will be happy to see you in our country. And next time, inshallah, we will contact each other and with next any program. Thank you very much once again.
Amin to that, sir. Amin. Yes, I now request my friend and founder vice president of the History Enthusiasts, Ms. Nidhi Katti, to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Manali. Today, the second lecture of the International Museums Day 2024 was really a very wonderful lecture. Thank you so much, Jahangir Hussain ji, for enlightening us and introducing us about the museum culture in Bangladesh. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving your precious time to us and patiently answering all the questions. Thanks a lot. And I also thank our honorary president Nandan Shastri ji and our founder president Miss Manali Momaya, our all the core committee members and advisory members, and all the audience who were active throughout the session. Thank you so much. And if the audience who see the recorded version have any doubts or questions, they can post it in the comment box. We will get back with the answers from the resource person. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Nidhi, also for being a wonderful co-host. And we will see you all very soon with another lecture, which is going to come on Buddha Purnima. So, hoping to see you all again then. We are signing off here. Uh, Take care. Happy weekend, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.